Hello everyone, Aquarian 73 here with the 12th audio recording out of the series titled Confessions from Beyond the Senses, where I will take a break from describing the reptilian and light consciousnesses and shift back to more fundamental principles, as in the principle of the threefold nature of being, which is related to the movement or the sphere within which duality exists when it is born. And this is an energy, basically. This is a pulse, an energy that leads either to being or not being, to good or evil, to growth or decay, to light or darkness. And as from the threefold form comes being, and that is the fourth. And that is why in most esoteric schools and mystery schools and spiritual schools, four represents matter, manifested being in solid form. And the fifth is not being, which is the return to spiritual state, and that is the fifth element. So usually within the four aspect of creation, the matter, the material aspect, there are four elements. But if you move to the spiritual realm, there are five elements. And you can see how in some spiritual traditions the fifth element has been removed totally, while in others it is still there, especially on the eastern side of spirituality, as in Taoism or in Hinduism, five elements, whereas in Western traditions, except for the tradition of alchemy, where the fifth element is alluded to, hidden, concealed, and gotten into through riddles and work that has to be done, work that is done in secrecy. Most of the other traditions in the West have removed the fifth element for a good reason, since they are mostly dominated by reptilian consciousness, material consciousness, which does not need or does not believe or does not want to see the fifth element. So with that said, you can also see how the four elements within the solid manifestation are reflected in the human makeup, the collective human as four races, races of fire, races of water, races of air, and races of earth. These are qualities, and they do not mean that one race, they're not designed to be hierarchical, but rather to show the predominance of equality within a race. And for that matter, I have to take it aside here and say that the Earth itself is designed as an energy grid, a grid that moves these elements in specific ways, that attracts them to certain places and repulses them from certain places, and that the movement of the planets themselves within the solar system, as the sun goes spinning around, revolving within the galactic, the Milky Way, within the galactic plane, there is a shift within that affects this position and the way things go and move as far as these energies, these flows of elemental energies within our planets. So you find that some points within the planet are very, very, very strong attractors for certain types of elemental beings. Some places like Mecca, some places like the Vatican, some places like in older times where the pyramids were built, where ancient civilizations had their structures, and where people are now going back to visit because they can't help it. due to their soul lineage and their mission on earth in this life form to integrate and work the karmic residue from um, those old lifetimes that they've had in those areas. So a lot of people will find themselves attracted to such areas and go into them, moving far, far, traveling very far, and feeling kind of stuck, getting stuck in some areas more than others, based on their spiritual journey, based on their soul journey, which is designed through many births and deaths and incarnations. Uh, and all this to say that the planet itself plays a role in how the movement of the collective takes place, and how the tensions within the different elements in the composition of our social structure, our global social structures, are diffused and played out through time. As to the fifth element, as if you can think about it this way, we are one of the only species that has a vertical spine, and while most of the other species have a horizontal spine, somewhat horizontal, more horizontal than vertical. They are more in connection with one element up to three elements, whereas we are set to travel through the four elements towards the fifth element. We are beings that are born to be attracted to the spiritual, and we have various ways of doing so. And with that said, I will close this recording and wish you a wonderful continuation of your life journey as usual. Thank you, and be well.